combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live, and we're here with another episode of Jimmy Scope. So we talk all about various things in the world of nutritional health here on this show that I do. It happens live on Instagram twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, Eastern time. I'm a little bit later than I normally am this morning, but Jimmy Rants is the name of the show. Go to JimmyRants.com and you can actually see all of my past rants on YouTube. We house them all there. Perhaps you're watching this on YouTube, but go follow me at Instagram. I'm at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVIN LOWCARBMAN. And coming soon, we'll have a podcast with the best of all these Jimmy Rants. So, today's topic of Jimmy Rants is one that I think will address a lot of issues, especially for those people who think that the ketogenic diet failed them, okay? So I want to talk about how those people say, well, I went keto and, quote, all my numbers got bad, end quote. Or I went keto and I didn't lose a single pound of weight. I went keto and you fill in the blank, okay? So a lot of times people go into any new nutritional health plan with an objective. They want to lose weight. They want to see certain blood markers that their doctor says is important, get better. And so when those things don't necessarily happen and happen quickly, people quickly blame the diet and then they get off of it. So I want to offer up my thoughts on how your perspective determines your perception of keto. So follow me here. Your perspective coming into keto might be, I need to lose 100 pounds over the next 6 to 12 months. That might be your perspective, okay? So you go on keto and you start experiencing immediate benefits. You notice that the weight is starting to drop. You drop for a little while, then you have a pause. You start to panic a little bit, so then you try to do drastic measures. You're not understanding why. It's not continuing. But your perspective was, I should be losing a ton of weight. I should be able to just burn off all the weight that I need to burn off. Keto's the magic pill. I should be doing that. And when it doesn't happen, keto failed. So here's how that scenario plays out. You had an expectation of losing 100 pounds in 6 to 12 months. At the end of 6 months, you're down 35 pounds. At the end of 12 months, you're down 50 pounds. Was that a success or was that a failure? In a lot of people's minds, they would say keto failed, right? And so their perspective was that they needed to lose 100 pounds and that keto would make it happen in 6 to 12 months. The reality of the situation was they lost 50 pounds in a year. But because of that perception that keto should have helped them lose 100 pounds, keto was a failure. And oh my gosh, this runs rampant. And this is not just about keto, but really anything of a belief system that people have is their perception of what should happen and what does happen makes them think that whatever it was that helped them lose the 50 pounds in this particular example didn't really help them at all. Oh, how frustrating is that, you guys? Because this person should be celebrating that they lost 50 pounds, right? And so if weight loss is your goal on keto and you have a goal, which, by the way, I'm all for people setting goals, but I don't think you so trap yourself into a goal that if you don't absolutely hit some arbitrary goal that you've somehow, quote, failed. Anywhere better than where you were the day before, the week before, the month before, the year before is a move in the right direction, and you need to celebrate that. All right, let's give another example. My numbers are all off because of keto. All right, so then you start to dig deeper, and I get these emails all the time from people. Keto made all my blood work worse. I'm like, well, all right, tell me what happened. Well, my total cholesterol went way up, and my LDL cholesterol went way up, and I'm not understanding. I thought this was supposed to be a healthy diet. What's going on? So then I have to gently remind them that nothing's necessarily going on. Give me the perspective of some of your other numbers. What do they look like on your cholesterol panel, for example? So then they bring back their triglycerides, and their triglycerides are, under 100. Let's just say they're 70. Then they come back and what's your HDL cholesterol? Oh, well, yeah, that went up. It's 75. Okay. What about your what was your LDL and your total cholesterol? Oh, LDL was very high at 120, and total cholesterol was extremely high at 220. Okay, now we're getting to the heart of why you don't need to worry about that. Their perspective was that the ketogenic diet would make them healthier. So when their perception that it made them less healthy because their LDL and their total cholesterol went up, which we've talked at great length about why that's not a big deal, and some of the reasons why it does that, and some of the new science that shows triglyceride to HDL ratio is so much more important. But doctors still hang on to that old theory. So then they go to see their doctor, and the doctor says, oh my God, you need to be on a statin medication. And so it's reinforced this perception that keto did something very bad when it did something very, very good. And then I start asking, what happened to like inflammation markers like HSCRP or homocysteine or IGF-1 or any of those things that your doctor can run? A lot of times doctors aren't running those because they don't want the patient to focus on anything but LDL and total cholesterol. Well, what about fasting insulin? Has it gone down? What about fasting blood glucose? Has it gone down? You could go down the list of all these tests, and I think I'm going to do another Jimmy Rants all about the various tests that you can run and some of the ranges that you're looking for. So stay tuned for that coming soon. But see, this whole mentality that people come into this way of eating and they have a certain expectation, I suppose, in their mind of what they think keto will do for them. And then when it, quote, doesn't happen, end quote, because they're not hitting the numbers that they think and doctors are reinforcing that they should think that they should get, they think keto failed. So here's the reality. How do you feel? If you go keto, I don't care what happens in your blood work. If you go keto and you start feeling better, some maybe chronic pain, joint pain, muscle aches go away, you have more energy, you notice that your brain health is on fire, you have all of these positive benefits that are happening for you. Did keto fail you? No, nobody would think that. And yet we become so tied to a number on a scale, to numbers on blood work, determining our success or failure and how we believe we did on keto. And so if there's anything I can impart as far as wisdom goes, having done this a very long time, is don't get hung up on any one number. Don't get discouraged by anything that the mainstream is saying about your numbers. Continue to learn and look at all the latest science, which I try to bring to you through my various books and podcasts and things like that, because things are changing. Things are really looking different in the coming years. I sincerely believe we're going to move more towards looking at triglyceride to HDL ratio being a lot more important, looking at why the scale doesn't really give you the whole picture about your total health. So start getting on the bandwagon, so to speak, with your mind, even now, to prepare yourself that this perception that keto failed, that keto didn't really produce the results you wanted, might be dead wrong, because all of the good markers in your blood work got better. And I think the sooner we learn that, the sooner we stop stressing ourselves out over these perspectives of what we think should happen. And your perception of keto will greatly change. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. I've been thinking about this one a lot. You guys notice when I do these Jimmy rants, I've had these things on my heart and mind to talk about for a long time, and so I just so Bubo Nocturnus says there are those who only think they're doing keto but won't actually cut the carbs low enough and up the fat. Yes, that's another thing. They think all they have to do is just kind of cut carbs, kind of increase fat, or not even really do that, and that it should just automatically work. They're never testing for ketosis, so they don't actually know if they're burning fat for fuel or not. So that's a good point, Bubo Nocturnus, is that they're not really doing keto. So that is something. Their perception was, well, if I lower carbs, that should be enough. And just simply lowering carbs alone, that's such an arbitrary, subjective thing anyway. Lower than 300 could be 200. Is that going to make you ketogenic? No. Lower than 200 could be 100. Is that going to make you ketogenic? Probably not. You have to bring the carbs way, way, way low, which is why I usually point people to stick with green leafy vegetables primarily when they first start, till they can kind of tinker and test and see their carb tolerance. Kimberly Jackson Simmons says, I've learned so much from keto. I have ups and downs, but stay faithful to the process. Yes. That is the way to do it. And sometimes people, at the first sign of any kind of inkling of, oh no, this isn't working, they jump ship. And I'm going, at the very moment your body is about to reward you with lower inflammation and lower insulin and lower body weight and all the things that are important, you give up. And what I always want to ask is, well, if you give up keto, how did you start eating? You know, what did you do? And 9 times out of 10, people go back to kind of a junk food diet. They don't go to some other diet. Some people do. Some people have gone from like a keto diet to like a paleo diet, or keto to maybe even like a vegetarian, vegan, or keto to some other diet. But most people, when they, quote, fall off the wagon on keto, they go back to a crap diet. Well, that didn't work, so let me eat this crap. This definitely works. Does that make any sense at all? Not to me. My weight loss has stalled after just 35 pounds in 10 months, but I'm staying calm and ketoing on. Celebrate not just 35 pounds. You lost friggin' 35 pounds. Celebrate that. I think we have such high expectations for what should happen, which is exactly what I'm talking about here. By the way, Bubo Nocturnus, thank you for sharing that. But it's your perspective that determines your perception of keto. You are ketoing on, so I'm proud of you for that. But a lot of people in your situation, I only lost 35 pounds. I should have lost 75 by now, and so therefore, And I'm going, you lost 35 pounds. Where did we stop celebrating success like that? That is success. Maybe not the success that you wanted in the timing that you wanted, but it's still success. When I went on the Atkins diet in 2004, I lost 100 pounds in 100 days. And then my body was just like, all right, we're going to take a break a while. Okay? So 10 weeks in a row, I lost 0 pounds on the scale. But in that 10 weeks, after that 10 weeks was over, I started losing again. In that 10 weeks, I lost 6 inches off of my waist. So when you think nothing is happening because some stupid scale is telling you that nothing is happening, stuff is happening. So it's why I'm so passionate about this topic, is people put all of these unrealistic expectations on themselves and their journey, and they think they're doing something wrong when they're doing something very, very right. And people are giving up on keto or whatever their chosen diet plan is, all at the altar of expectations. We got to stop doing that. We've got to start putting our head on straight and having the perspective that looks at it from a different angle than what we're being told to look at it. All right, if you're just joining us, guys, we are talking very deep today about this topic of how your perspective determines your perception of keto. A lot of people come into keto with this perspective of it's going to just heal all my woes. I'm going to lose all the weight I need to. It's just going to be a fat-burning machine. And then when it doesn't happen in the way that they think it should, then they think keto failed them. Keto's a joke, and they get off of it, and then they blame keto for their perspective of it and their perception of it based on their perspective going into it. Firewolf Ashton says, I feel it definitely working off all my meds and feeling much better. Keto for life. Yes, when you start coming off of prescription medications that you've been taking for a very long time, if that ain't proof that keto's doing something good, I don't know what is. Christine took Paxil, which is a panic attack medicine. She got them really bad for a very long time. We talk about this in our new book, Real Food Keto. But she had vitamin D levels that were obscenely low, and then she shifted over to supplementing with more vitamin D and eating a ketogenic diet. And she was able to come right off of that medication that she had taken for 10 years and would have probably taken for the rest of her life because her doctor never once suggested any kind of nutritional changes that could have made that better. He just kept prescribing and prescribing and prescribing. It's pretty disgusting how many people take medications still today that they don't really need. I'm struggling to get back on track. Ugh. Ed9646. All I can do is encourage you to get back to the basics. Anybody that struggles and you're having issues kind of getting going with keto, go back to the basics. I wrote a very easy to understand and easy to read book about it called Keto Clarity. If you want to go check it out, you can get it at Amazon. All the bookstores have it. But Keto Clarity will kind of guide you through the basics of all this. And sometimes you go, well, I've done keto. I kind of know what to do. It's always a good idea to go back to the basics, start again, start fresh, and then your mind can be set right going into it so that you can be the success you want to be. Amy Marm Brewster says, I'm just amazed how many people will fight for their crappy garbage. It's almost worse than a drug addict. It is an addiction, and it's why I'm very, I have a heart for those people because we've all been there. But yeah, you're right. They are very much addicted to their crappy garbage. MP Laughlin, just had my physical. My primary care physician fought me on ordering LDL particle size breakdown, but my blood pressure was 135/80, and she asked if my sodium intake increased. She asked if I ate olives and cured meat and cheese. Yeah, they ask all those questions. And again, I'll repeat from other Jimmy rants, but they know nothing about nutrition. Doctors do not get trained in nutrition. This shocks people, and I'm going to keep saying it until everybody knows it. Asking your doctor about nutrition or him or her giving you nutritional health advice is akin to going to your plumber and asking him how to fix your lawnmower. Does he know how to do it? Maybe he learned on his own, but a plumber is not trained to know how to fix your lawnmower. And yet, the doctor is the plumber in this case, and he's trying to fix your lawnmower. And he doesn't know. Yes, he knows a lot about the physiology of your body and your health, but he was taught kind of the mechanism of how the body works and the pharmacology that would cover up the symptoms of what you're dealing with. That's what he or she, your doctor, was trained in. The only thing you can do nutritionally, and the people who really know what they're talking about nutritionally, are these doctors that have educated themselves, people like NTPs, nutritional therapy practitioners, nutritionists. There's really good people out there, registered dietitians, again, that have gone off the beaten path of what they learned in their education, because it's all old science that they learn, RDs. Those are the people who know what they're talking about. So yes, your doctor's going to push back on this. My doctor stopped running insulin. I'm an insulin resistant man, and he stopped running the very thing I'm trying to track. So I had to fire him and start running my own tests. So unfortunately, that's kind of the state of it. Tailored keto health. Also, fat is energy. Don't fear it. Cholesterol, hormonal precursors. Yes, thank you for that, for sure. And people, their perspective determines their perception of keto. Their perspective going into keto, a lot of them, even though all of this positivity has come out about the benefits of fat, their perspective is, well, if low carb is good, low carb, low fat must be better. And so they start cutting both, and they don't do well, and they don't feel well, and they're hungry, and they're going, screw this keto thing, it doesn't work. Well, you didn't do it right. I've gotten the impatient bug, but I also reverse type 2 diabetes. All right, Gene, way to go. That is awesome. Dana D. Patterson, it's not just expectations, it's impatience, ridiculous impatience, like toddlers wanting instant gratification. You're so right, Dana. People, they're like, they start eating keto, and next week they want to be off their diabetes medications. Or they start eating keto, and next week they want to have lost 20 pounds. We've got to be patient with ourselves and also know where you came from. You know, when I started eating the Atkins diet in 2004, January 1st, 2004 was my start date. I'm coming up on the 15-year anniversary of starting this. And when I was going into it, I was drinking 16 cans of Coca-Cola a day. I was having whole boxes of Little Debbie snack cake every single day. I was having fast food, junk food, you name it. I was stuffing it in my mouth. And then suddenly I go on the Atkins diet, which goes from about 1,600 grams of carbs down to 20. And of course, I had no expectation this diet was going to work because every other diet had helped me lose weight. But then to make a lifestyle out of it, yeah, no. But this one did work. So thankfully. There could be other factors like medication or maybe a minor tweak is all that's needed. Yep, for sure. All right. Haven't stepped on the scale for about a month, but I had to make my belt smaller. Great, Tim. Good job, buddy. All right. Keto Clarity is wonderful for helping explain this life to the grand inquisitors in my life. I like how you describe them, the grand inquisitors. Kat has been medically trained, and she said we got 2 weeks of nutrition. Kat, you got more training in nutrition than most medical professionals that I've talked to. The average is somewhere between like a 3-day seminar to a week. I did hear one as low from a Duke University graduate of medical school just last year. He was a 4th-year student, and he said that he got 1 3-hour seminar. So disgusting. And didn't say anything about insulin or carbohydrates and nothing like that. Amy says, I'm a bariatric nurse clinician, work in the surgical area. Our dietitians talk about it being okay to eat carbs, but they do encourage under 50 grams. What I've seen from a lot of dietitians is, at least traditionally trained ones, I'm not sure about the ones where you work, but they'll say eat 60 grams of carbs per meal, which is like 60 for breakfast, 60 for lunch, 60 for dinner. And then they're encouraging like 30 during the snacks. So you have 2 or 3 snacks in there as well. You're just loading up your body with carbohydrates under the old model. All right. I'm insulin resistant too. Which monitor do you use? Well, Barb, I don't know what you're referring to. Are you talking about blood glucose? Talking about blood ketone? You talking about cholesterol? What are you talking about? All right. Who knew keto would be the precursor to being an NTP? Be wildly well. Yeah. Christine really loved going through the nutritional therapy practitioner program after her understanding of being keto, because it helped her have perspective. And this was the fascinating thing that led to our book, Real Food Keto, was she was already keto. She was trying to add to the knowledge and kind of use her own experiences because she's been through a whole lot in her health. And as she was going through the program, she's like, well, no wonder. Well, that explains it. And it was just kind of all this aha moment. So definitely get that book when it comes out Tuesday, Real Food Keto, because there's just so much information in there that it's just not being talked about in the world of keto. All right, guys, I am done with this Jimmy Rants. Thanks for being here today. Again, we talked about your perspective determines your perception of keto. And hopefully this kind of gives you a little bit of encouragement that if you see someone that's down on themselves about their ketogenic journey because they've only lost 35 pounds and they expected to lose 50, or their numbers got all out of whack, and you look at it and you see the relevant numbers got better, not worse, maybe you can be that encouragement to them and uplift them for their own journey. Just curious, do you think you might go through NTP school or do Maria's Keto Coaching just for the paper? You know what? Thank you for that question, Booba Nocturnus. I was offered to go through the nutritional therapy practitioner program, but I'm a busy guy. I do a bunch of books and podcasts. I didn't think I could invest the time in it. I would literally have to shut down everything for the NTP for 9 months. And I have had offers from several other of kind of the certifications. For me, it's a time issue. Obviously, I have a lot of the knowledge that's being taught in most of these programs. So I don't think I need the knowledge. Now, as far as the letters after my name, those of you that follow me know I relish in not having letters after my name. I often say in my talks that I'm not an MD, RD, PhD, or any D after my name because I like being empowered patient Jimmy Moore. I like passing on information that's useful to people, that helps educate them, and plus not having credentials after my name adds more credibility in for me to relate to other people. Well, he has an RD after his name. He has an MD after his name. He has a PhD after his name. Of course he knows about all this stuff. And so, hey, Lauren, so no, I have refused to go through various programs, number one, because of time. But number two, I relish just being Jimmy Moore. Now, I do have a master's degree in public policy, so I don't go Jimmy Moore, MA. But I could. But I relish in not having credentials after my name because I think it helps me then relate so much more. And I already have a platform, so I don't need it to grow a platform anymore. Maybe late in life I'll get a medical degree or some PhD in nutrition or something just for fun. So, all right, guys, that's it for this Jimmy Rants. As always, go to jimmyrants.com and you can connect with the videos on YouTube of all my rants that I've done so far. Go follow me on Instagram if you're watching this on somewhere besides Instagram. At Living Low Carb Man is how you find me. You can watch me live mornings and afternoons Eastern Standard Time, and you can also watch the replay for 24 hours at Instagram. And then again on YouTube, you can see the videos. And very, very soon, we're going to have Jimmy Rants, the podcast. The podcasting world won't know what hit it once Jimmy Rants hits iTunes. So thank you, guys. Appreciate you being here. And we'll see you again real soon with another Jimmy Rants. Bye.